This is the one about playing a game no one else is playing.
If you're a real estate agent or broker, this show is for you. Onion Juice is both a podcast and a movement designed to wake up and redefine the real estate industry. Here's your host, Neil Mathweg, for another stimulating episode of The Onion Juice. Let's join the movement now.
Welcome, Juicers. It's that time once again for the Onion Juice podcast. I'm your host, Neil Mathweg, and this is episode number 19. And I just want to take a moment to thank everybody for listening to the show. We continue to grow in downloads. We continue to get more 5-star reviews and just this awesome buzz is going on. More people reaching out to me, private messages and emails and phone calls. And there's just this buzz, and I'm just pumped about it. And I just want to really sincerely thank you for listening and for making this happen. You know, when you start a show, you kind of wonder if anybody's going to listen. Is it just going to be my wife and a couple colleagues, a couple friends of mine that are going to listen to the show, or is it actually going to grow? And that's happening. It's growing, and there's people listening, and it's exciting. And so again, I wanted to thank you. And last week I received some really cool news that is going to help us take the show to the next level. And I'm getting somebody that is possibly going to back the show, which is just going to help us invest in new equipment and just better sound. And also it will take us, it'll allow us to have a copywriter write the show notes so that you can easily download the show notes and receive those. And the other good thing that's hopefully going to be coming is when I talk about something on the show, I can just simply say, hey, if you want a copy of that, just send a text to such and such a number, whatever that number is going to become, and then the system will automatically text you the information back, kind of like what the radio stations have. So I really feel cool. I think it's really going to go to the next level. So I'm just excited about that. I'm going to share more of this. So obviously, once we are able to do all of this, but I just want to let you know that it's coming. And this is all because of you. It's all because you're listening. It's because the downloads are going up. And it's just allowing us to kind of go to the next level. So thank you. And also, if you haven't already, head to iTunes and subscribe, rate, and review. And the reason I push for this is because this is going to help us get on the new and noteworthy list. And that's kind of like the New York Times bestseller list for a book. So this is where podcasters get on a list. And then, again, this takes the podcast to the next level. So the last 2 episodes, we talked a lot about having a media plan and staying top of mind. And then that kind of rolls into the benefit of having a show, because I really feel that a good media plan, you should be constantly pumping out content, and a show, I think, is the best way to do that. And then the benefit of having a show is staying top of mind. And so I want to continue to talk about having a show and some of the benefits of that. And one of them is it comes down to is that you're playing a game that no one else is playing. And it's really true. You got to think about the number of other realtors that have a show and that have this buzz going around their town and have a show. There's not a lot of competition there. And so you're playing a game that no one else is playing. And what's going to happen is first of all, they're going to ask you why you're doing it. They're going to ask you, why do you have a show? And you're not going to know how to answer it. You might be, oh, I know, Neil from the Onion Juice told me to have a show. Other than that, you're not going to know how to answer it. And then later, they're going to ask you, how did you do it? They're going to start to see the success that you're having, and they're going to ask you, how did you do it? And that's exactly what happened to me when I started Mathweg Monday Trivia. I started this silly trivia game every Monday morning on my Facebook page, and everybody was asking me, why do you do that? Like, I get it, you're driving traffic to your Facebook page, but really, why do you do that? And then those same people came back to me after they found that I sold, 30 to 40 homes a year off of my Facebook page, how did you do that? How did that work? And so that's the power of having a show, and that's the game that nobody else is playing. And so you win every time. When you're playing a game that nobody else is playing, you win every time. So my partner, associate of mine, was on HGTV, House Hunters, the show House Hunters on HGTV, and he had this kind of this media blitz. He didn't really pump it out too much, but he kind of had this buzz going on Instagram and Facebook around being on the show. Just kind of, hey, tonight, 9:00, check me out. I'm going to be on HGTV, and we as a firm were raving about it, and and it was like, hey, this is cool. Everybody check this out. And so he got this nice little buzz going around this one episode. And he had a few people reach out to him in private messages and saying, hey, saw you, it was really cool. And some people that he hasn't talked to in a while. And then one of the things that I witnessed was when we were at we were looking at a building together, and when we were leaving, we ran into somebody that we both go to church with, and she was like, "Wow!" She goes, "I saw you on HGTV. That was awesome, so cool." And it was cool because we just kind of had this conversation with her in the foyer of this building. And then she looked at me and she goes, you're used to it because you're on Facebook. You got your own show. You're on Facebook all the time. And so just he got that burst of media, or that burst of attention from being on HGTV. And he got to witness kind of what I get to witness when I go out in public, because of so many people seeing me on Facebook. And so it's this power of media. It's playing the game that nobody else is playing, that ends up being so awesome and ends up driving so much traffic to you, and you meet so many people because of it, and you have such cool conversations because of it. So I encourage you, again, to have a show, to be a media company that happens to sell real estate, and watch the power of media work for you. And see, when you do something so different than anybody else, it becomes fun. And I want to talk about the fun behind media. Like, now that I bring up the fun, I've heard this from a few people that, hey, I'm having a blast putting my show together. And working on this and recording it and putting the content out there and talking about it on social media. I'm having a lot of fun. Is that wrong? Like, is it wrong for me to have fun? You kind of feel like guilty for having fun. Let me assure you that that's the cool thing about being a media company, is it is fun. Being an artist is a blast. And it's encouraging, and don't feel guilty about it. I think we're too much of us are brainwashed to think that if we're not cold calling and prospecting and working hard and grinding, that we're not going to be successful, that we can't have fun. And I want to debunk that myth. That writing content, even if you're doing blogging, even if you're recording a podcast, or you're putting out a video show, or whatever it is, however you're expressing your art, whatever is inside of you, and that whenever you're doing that, it's fun, and enjoy it, and be okay with that. All right. The other bit of advice that I want to give, and this is just all coming from people that I've talked to in the last week, is that the fun thing has come up, and the other one is how long do I need to do it before I know it's going to work? And I see so many agents do this, where they try something and it maybe works. They maybe are good with it for about 2-3 months, somewhere right in there. And then they're not getting any results, and they're putting out their art, and they're really not getting a response, and they're seeing other people putting their art out, and they're getting a bigger response, and then they just start telling themselves lies that they're just not good enough, that they just don't have it, and they give up. And they give up way too soon. If you go back and you look at my first Mathweg Monday trivia, it's hilarious. Like, it is so bad. I stare right into, I don't even look at the camera. I look at my screen, and my eyes are moving so you can tell I'm reading. Like, it's bad. And now you go look at my Mathweg Monday trivias now, and I'm totally different. I'm myself. I don't even rehearse. I don't even have notes. I just hit record and I talk. And I just remember what the trivia question is, and I remember a couple other things that I'm going to talk about, and I do it in one recording and I'm done. It used to take me 2 hours to record Mathweg Monday Trivia. Now it takes me about 2 minutes. Like it just, I'm just so quick with it, and it's and that's going to take time. And when I started doing Mathweg Monday Trivia, the next day I didn't start selling houses because of people that I met on Facebook. That took time, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, somewhere right in there. And then I really started to get a following and started to get a core number of people that played the game every week and were winning and having fun and letting their friends know about it. Those are the people that started calling me when they needed to sell a house, or somebody that they knew needed to sell a house, and that's how that grew. So it takes time. So I just encourage you to have fun and don't give up. The other thing about this show today is that the title of the show is to play a game that no one else is playing. And I always want to talk about if a show or if being a media company isn't for you, and you still want to listen to the podcast, and you like the things that I'm talking about, but I'm just not going to get in front of the camera. I'm just not going to get on the mic. I'm just not a good writer. I just don't have art inside of me, which, by the way, I don't believe that there's one person that doesn't have art inside of them, but there's some that believe that. And if I could talk to you one-on-one, I would tell you differently. But I want this show to be for those that obviously want to be media companies and pump out content and stuff like that and be artists. But I also want to talk to those that's not for. And there are some people that's just the way they are. So what I would want to encourage you to do is to still play a game nobody else is playing. And I want you to find places where there's no other realtors or very few realtors. Like you look at Zillow, everybody's on Zillow. If you go on, I don't even know if Zillow does this, but I know Trulia does, where you can blog on Trulia and go on there and answer questions. I never did it because there's a crowd of realtors already there. And it's too noisy, and I'm just never gonna. I'm not gonna fit into that. And I want to stand apart. I don't want to be where everybody else is at. So be places where other people aren't. Like right now, Snapchat is fair game. There's just not enough. There's no other realtors there. There's nobody else pumping out content. And that's a place like that excites me because there's nobody else there. So just be looking for places where there's no other realtors, and look for opportunities to either advertise. And when you advertise, really think about your advertising. Like I'm thinking about, let's say a bowling alley. If you're going to advertise in a bowling alley, think about the person that's looking at the ad, and how can you bring them value. Always think about how you can bring them value. And if it's and I love texting, so if it's a way that they can text a word to a certain number and they'll get a special report right back to them. Most of the people at the bowling alley are going to have their phones on them. Or if it's at a driving range, a golf course, or somewhere, whatever type of advertising you do, just really try to bring them value. If you're looking at advertising somewhere where there's no other realtors, and you want to know how to make your ad really pop, shoot me a message. Shoot me an email, neilmathweg@gmail, or on any of the social media platforms. My handle is @neilmathweg. So just find me and send me a message, and I'll help you with the ad. I get excited about that, and I'd be more than happy to help you with that. So I just encourage you to play a game, be where no other realtors are, and to play a game that nobody else is playing. Again, thank you everybody for listening to The Onion Juice. Episode 19 is in the books. We're going to be moving on to episode 20 next week, and so excited about this. Join me on Periscope every Tuesday, 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. Time. And I'm on Periscope. Just find me at Neil Mathweg, and your phone will twerp and say, Neil's live. And join me on Periscope. We've been having a good time there, and I want to keep that going, mainly because I want to have some question and answer there. And I'm just going to kind of recap the episode, and I'm also going to talk about new things that, because once the episode goes out on Monday, usually my phone blows up Monday night and Tuesday with messages, and so that just gives me a good way to answer some of those questions and keep the conversation going. So join me on Periscope. That's on Tuesday, 4 o'clock Central Standard Time, and again, my handle is at Neil Mathweg. Again, thank you everybody for listening to the Onion Juice Podcast. Hope that everybody has a great day, and remember to be the reason somebody smiles today.